Bienvenidos a una edición especial de Players Only Podcast. Estoy acompañado por Rodrigo Ruiz, José Humberto Noriega y Sebastián Olvera. Yo soy Diego Ruiz y esto es nuestro Pop 62. Antes de empezar, no se les olvide suscribirse a nuestro canal de YouTube y seguirnos en nuestras redes sociales. Estamos en Spotify, Twitter, Facebook e Instagram. No se les olvide, echen un follow, compartan con un amigo, dejen un comentario, un pulgar arriba, lo que ustedes quieran. Gracias nuevamente por escucharnos en esta edición especial de Pop. Rodrigo Ruiz, ¿cómo estás?
Espérame, casi cometo el error de cada semana. Me iba a pasar. No, un gusto estar contigo, Diego, otra vez. Sebas Fashion, un gusto saludarlos. Fashion, qué bueno tenerte de regreso. Emocionado por este capítulo. La verdad es que un capítulo un poco diferente a lo que normalmente hemos hecho durante temporada, pero digo, creo que ya amerita el tema de conversación el día de hoy. Una gran entrevista, espero, y pues bueno, vamos a darle.
Vamos a darle, correcto. Sebastián Olvera, ¿cómo te encuentras?
Diego, Humberto, Rodrigo, muy bien, muy contento, igual emocionado por lo que acaba de decir Rodrigo. Creo que es un episodio bastante especial para nosotros. Estoy muy emocionado por esta nueva dinámica, algo que nunca hemos hecho en el programa y que de verdad espero que la audiencia deje sus comentarios al respecto sobre este contenido que están por escuchar. Y pues, supongo que eso es todo. Estoy de verdad muy emocionado, intrigado, curioso sobre lo que está por pasar.
Yo también muy emocionado de esta nueva edición especial. Nada más aviso a la comunidad, la gente que nos escucha, estamos grabando el miércoles. Este video se publicará en viernes, entonces en realidad no habrá interacción en los comentarios, pero de todas maneras los incentivamos a que pues, dejen sus comentarios, dejen lo que ustedes opinen acerca de la entrevista. Y bueno, sí, dejen sus comentarios. José Humberto Noriega, ¿cómo estás?
¿Qué onda, Diego? Un gusto como siempre. Buenas tardes, Rodrigo, Sebas. Un placer estar aquí nuevamente. Y sí, como ustedes bien lo acaban de comentar, un capítulo especial. Yo creo que siempre hemos abordado como este tipo de temas controversiales, por así decirlo, pero siempre creo que enfocados como del lado de la liga, ¿no? Y la realidad es que hoy vamos a tener un invitado que nos podrá adentrar, por así decirlo, en temas complicados, ¿no? En temas complicados que se viven pues muy íntimamente pues, dentro del locker, dentro de un equipo, que luego son cosas a las cuales nosotros no tenemos ese acceso, ¿no? Vimos reventar este tema hace un par de semanas con Coach Cachimus, como tú bien lo comentaste, Diego, pero ahora vamos a tener la oportunidad de escuchar la versión del jugador que se vio directamente afectado, por así decirlo, ¿no? Por los exagerados como Rodrigo. Entonces, pues nada, contento y emocionado de estar aquí con ustedes.
Emocionado, yo también estoy muy emocionado y pues bueno, sin mayor preámbulo, creo que ya tendrán una idea de lo que a quién vamos a entrevistar. La razón de este pop especial se da a raíz de las declaraciones del Coach Strevel, que da en la conferencia de prensa después del partido disputado entre Gallos Negros y Jefes de Ciudad Juárez, donde el Coach Strevel de manera tajante tuvo bastantes comentarios negativos en torno a la situación de la ahora ex quarterback de los Gallos Negros, Aaron Ellis. Nosotros hace 2 episodios dialogamos acerca de la situación y nos contactó Aaron Ellis con el motivo de solicitar un espacio en nuestro podcast para contar su lado de la historia. Como contexto, nada más cito textualmente los comentarios del Coach Strevel posterior a la derrota de los Jefes y cito textual: nuestro quarterback no tiene temple, nuestro quarterback no sabe solucionar. Y creo que parte de la derrota de hoy no lo culpo a nadie, porque yo asumo esta responsabilidad de mantener al equipo y a los jugadores. Es una responsabilidad mía. Les pido una disculpa donde yo asumo toda la responsabilidad, porque en el momento en que detectamos el problema no lo atacamos, mantuvimos a nuestro quarterback y le prometo a la afición de Querétaro darle otro quarterback porque se lo merece la gente y la afición. Nosotros concluimos en el Pop 60 que esto solo era la punta del iceberg, porque hacer este tipo de declaraciones en público uno se podrá imaginar, ¿no? Que era lo que pasaba detrás de cámaras. Dicho todo esto, le damos la bienvenida a Aaron Ellis, ex quarterback de los Gallos Negros de Querétaro. Nada más breve aviso a toda la gente que nos escucha: la entrevista se va a llevar a cabo en inglés. Espero que hayan ahí practicado su inglés, muchachos.
Un inglés sin barreras ahí para el Sebas. ¿Sí? Se lo mandé ahí en la semana.
Muchas gracias ahí. Muchas gracias por el cursito. Inglés para tontos, señores. Estamos listos.
Y pues bueno, aquí agregamos al escenario a Aaron Ellis, quarterback de los Gallos Negros. Hi, Aaron. We welcome you to Players Only Podcast. How are you doing?
Hey, guys. I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
For sure, Aaron. Thank you for being here. And we wanted to start the interview. Obviously, a lot has been said over the past few days regarding Coach Strevel's comments and what happened in Ciudad Juárez. We've talked to some people within the organization, teammates, coaches. So we wanted to just begin like asking you, why did you feel like it was important for you to reach out today and do this interview basically?
Man, that's a great question. You know, I wasn't gonna comment on anything that happened this year, to be honest with you. You know, I was just gonna, you know, be professional, wash my hands of it, just move on and go my own way. And, you know, I told Coach I hoped the best for all of them. But after finding out what was said at the Hefe's post-game interview, something kind of snapped at me, and I was like, well, I worked too hard, too long in my life and of this sport, and, you know, I did things the right way. I'm not going to allow someone to kind of try to tarnish my name. So I felt it was important for me to just kind of set the record straight, and then people have both sides, so then they can make their own judgment based off that.
Hey, Aaron. What's up, man? Thanks for being here again. I just want to know, like, what happened after those words from Coach Strevel? I know these kind of situations, it can be like kind of hard for you, especially after passing those kind of frustrations regarding the team and the results. But what happened? I mean, what did you think about it?
Well, I didn't know he said anything until 2 days after the game. Like, I had no knowledge. I only came upon it when I saw you guys make a comment about it on one of your episodes, and then I went down the rabbit hole of everything that happened in that interview, and I was like, "Yo, what is going on?" And I was actually very it was nice to see people, like, you know, because I got shit on all year by people online, but it was nice to see people be like, "Hey, like, why are you talking about your player like this?" So that was kind of nice. But yeah, I didn't know for a while, and then I found out, and I'm like, Jesus. And I was already on a plane home.
Oh shit. Okay.
So
we're the guilty ones.
No, hey, I was very grateful for that, for sure.
So just to be clear with what happened in the timeline. So were you cut off guard by the comments? Because we've talked to a lot of people, as I mentioned earlier, like we talked to teammates, to some coaches, and they commented that the relationship between you and the coaching staff and the players was like really strained or really difficult across the season. So were you surprised by it, or what? Like, were you totally caught off guard, or were you at some point expecting that some of what happened inside the locker room was going to spill out to some degree to other media, social media, or whatever?
I wasn't really surprised. I was surprised he chose after the Hefe's game to say what he did, because we had this issue after the Mexica's game when he said all the things he said after that game. And that was another thing. I had no idea he said anything until 5 days after, when Mex FB on Instagram posted about it. And then I was like, yo, what? But no, I mean, I'm not sure who you all talk to, but I had zero issues with my Mexican teammates. We had no problems in the locker room. Everything that Strevel keeps saying about, like, the friction between us, it wasn't existent. I mean, I'm sure some Mexican guys on the offensive side of the ball wanted the ball more, but that's normal. Anyone that plays offense, they want the ball more. They want to contribute. So I don't hold anyone for that. But we made a really good relationship. So him saying things like that continuously is very confusing, and that's definitely why I wanted to set the record straight, because people like you guys probably think, man, they hated each other. Nah, the only people I had an issue with were a couple of the coaches. And that being said, there are great coaches. There are great people on that coaching staff. There are, but there was just some of them, man, that it was very unfortunate. But yeah, did that answer it?
Yeah. Go ahead, Sebas.
I was going to ask you. You were saying that the relationship with Coach Strevel was probably broken after the Mexica's game. I'm curious about how was your relationship with him in practice and the coaching staff? Because, okay, man, you were just saying those stuffs in the press conference. Now I need to being with you in practice all the time. Yeah. So about the relationship, you were like,
that was the frustrating thing, brother. that was the frustrating thing because we talked about it. When that all happened, I texted him immediately when I found out. I'm like, hey, man, like, what's going on? You got an issue with me, talk to me about it. Don't go and air our team's laundry in front of these people. Like, talk to me about it. So he came and we sat down. He apologized to me. He said he shouldn't have talked like that. He was just frustrated after the loss. And I mean, I told him, I was like, hey, like, you stabbed me in the back. Like, I've never in my life had a coach talk about me like that ever. Even if the coach felt that my play was a reason we lost, never in my life have I seen a coach do that to a player. But so we talked, he apologized. I thought we were good after that. I really did, but obviously we weren't.
Aaron, I wanted to ask you, was there like a turning point because of what you have been mentioning to us? We thought there was like fractures along the way throughout the season, but do you think there was like a turning point in your relationship with Coach Strevel, or it was just all blowing up on the press conference from the game at Jefes?
Yeah, I mean, it was, to be honest with you, and I'm not here to just like, dog on people, but it's very important that it's made clear there was always a problem. Every week there was a new problem that had to be addressed. It was killing me mentally, dude, because we didn't get the playbook until a week when we flew out there. A week before we flew out. I was signed in October, and I was trying to get the playbook by then so I could get to work on it and, get everything down. If there was changes that we made changes. Get it a week before we go out there. Camp is a mess, dude. The system's a mess. Everything's a mess. We got like 7 plays only, and we have no motions, like no formations, no shifts. Or it was insane how much of a mess it was, and I kept bringing it up, like, "Hey guys, this is a problem. If we don't fix it, we're not gonna do well." And every time I bring it up, it's like they would take it personally. They would take it personally over and over and over again. So I would say from preseason camp, the relationship splintered a little by little every single week because there would be an issue. I'd be like, hey, coach, we can't run that play against that front. It's not going to work. And he'd be like, you need to trust us. You need to trust us. You don't trust us. They would say ridiculous things about me. So, but yeah, every week until I'm surprised made it to the Jefes game, man. I was ready to leave after the Dinos, because I thought it was just best for my teammates. I thought it was best for me. I thought it was best for everybody else if they just got someone that was just going to shut up and do exactly what they said.
And that brings me to my next question, that multiple people from within the organization have this recurring comment that times you were disrespectful with coaches, both on offense and defense. Do you want to provide some context on this, on why they would say this?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen, I'm not a disrespectful person. Okay, I'm a very calculating football player. I don't have the crazy, insane athletic gifts that some people may have. I can't run around like Boykin. I can't, throw a 100-mile-an-hour fastball or whatever. But like, my strength is my mind, and I need to be fully incorporated in what we're doing and make sure we have the right things schemed up so our game plan's right. So if people take it as disrespect when I tell the coach, hey, we can't run inside zone into a 7-man box, I don't know what to tell you. We can't do it. Like, we need to throw the ball. We need to RPO it. We need to go empty, something. If me saying that to them is disrespect, then I don't know what to tell you, man. It definitely boiled over near the back end. There was one practice where I lost my shit on the offense coordinator because it was another practice where nothing was scripted. We weren't prepared for anything. He just showed up and called like the same 6 plays over and over and over again all practice, and defense was kicking our ass. And I'm a competitor, man. I don't like going to practice and get my ass kicked by our defense. I don't like that. I don't like going to the game, much less without a game plan, and then get my ass kicked and everyone thinks it's my fault. I fucking hate that shit. But so I blew up. I lost my shit because it was weeks and weeks and weeks building up, and I lost my shit. And I said, I just told him, like, what are we doing here? Do you guys want to win? I don't understand what our course is here. And they just they took it as disrespect, and that's okay, man. But that's me sticking up for my teammates, dude, because we let a lot of people down this year, and we let a lot of fans down, and a lot of that was just us not being prepared and using people correctly, to be honest with you. So I was frustrated for my teammates because I didn't need to be there, man. Like I play other places, I have a good life. I didn't need to be there. I went there for the people that I knew that were going there, and that I have a lot of love and respect for. And some of my Mexican teammates might have seen it as disrespect, but I love all of them. I'm never going to say a bad word about any of my teammates at all. So if it's disrespect, it's disrespect, but I don't see it that way. I see it as me trying to get us right, trying to fix whatever problems we have.
But Aaron, do you feel that at some point,
Hey, Aaron,
the frustration? Perdón, Fashion, disculpa. Did you feel that at some point the frustration boiled over in not only to the coaches but to other teammates, or did it boil over in a way that you may regret, or later on you maybe said like, man, maybe that wasn't the way to do it?
No, absolutely not. I mean, my teammates felt the same frustrations all year. Specifically on the American side, because like we brought in some guys that really know football. Our linebacker Drew Singleton played at Michigan with John Harbaugh, sorry, and like McQueen and Matt Barrett and Isaiah, and on offense we got JJ Hop, Rayvon Johnson. These guys know a lot about football, and we were not utilizing it at all. There's a lot of frustration going on. I was just I was the veteran in the group. I was the oldest American we had, pretty much. And I took that upon me I need to be a leader for them, and I need to stand up and say when things are wrong. And if me standing up and saying things are wrong is disrespect, I mean, look at what our offense did. I promise you, I don't care, dude, who they get. If he's not a freak of nature athlete that runs a 4.5 and can just scramble and make plays all the time, then they're not going to do any better. So I don't know, man. A lot of people frustrated. Mexican players were also frustrated, but they didn't see everything that we saw when we were in the meeting room.
Hey, Aaron, I've been listening, man, and I mean, this is not me like talking shit to you or something. I just want to be like 100% honest. You were talking about like play calling and the playbook and shit, and this is the LFA. Like, it's hard because I'm still a player, so I know sometimes it's like hard, like things aren't the way it's supposed to be. But despite like the play calling, like I think you were like 2 or 3 decisions away from having the team in the playoffs. You feel me? So I think like I want to know like how do you feel about your performance? Because I think again you were like missing some place, leaving some place on the field that could get the team onto the playoffs eventually.
I would love to. I would love to hear what plays you're talking about specifically. I would love to. We could talk about it. Absolutely,
man.
For example, I'm listening. I'm just pulling this out of my head, but for example, the Raptors game, for example, like maybe there were some throws. Would you like to have back? And the way I would phrase the question is: would you attribute, or would you say that scheme was the main contributor to? And I'm not saying like maybe you were good performance, bad performance sometimes, but would you say scheme was the main contributing factor to that, or what would be the way you would assess your season then?
I will say 3 things. First thing, I did not play at an insanely elite caliber this year. I didn't. That is what it is. I'm not ashamed to say that. Okay, let's talk about the Raptors game. Okay, the first interception was my fucking fault. I mean, the ball was wet. I had Rayvon. He beat him deep, but he was inside. I thought I'd take a shot. Couldn't grip the ball. I shouldn't have thrown it. I should have just thrown the check down or take the sack and move on. We were up at that point. There was no need to try to force a deep ball. The pick 6, all week, we talked with the receivers over and over and over again. Hey, we need to come back on these routes because they're aggressive. And 9 is a good player, and then 44 was new that game. He's a very good player too. I like him a lot. And we worked on it all week, and then we get into the game. I throw a couple of the comebacks early. 0 and number 9, they were kind of close on a couple of them. And so I pulled all the receivers on the sideline again. I said, hey, just a reminder, come back to the ball. Come back to the ball. And I don't blame them at all on this because we didn't preach it as a coaching staff. We didn't practice it. I only worked on it with Rayvon and JJ because we had extra time together. But we didn't practice it. Didn't practice it. One of my native receivers runs the comeback, and I saw him one-on-one, so I was like, we'll give him the ball here. He didn't come back to the ball. 44 made a great play, pick 6. Now, everyone's going to look at that and say, okay, Aaron's an idiot. And that's fine. You guys can believe what you want. I got no problem with that. It's part of being a quarterback. But everyone knows in football, on a comeback, you got to come back to the football. It's that simple. We didn't practice it. We didn't work on it. We didn't preach it. It's that simple. I don't blame my receiver at all. I blame that's a coaching thing. That is something that needs to be done on the field the 5 days a week we're practicing. The second one in the end zone, we were running open nod, which is the out nod route, fake the out, run back to the middle. We didn't run it correctly because we didn't rep it at all for the last 3 weeks. He only one-stepped it because it's a timing route. He one-stepped it. I came to it late, and then I tried to force something, and it was a bad throw. I should have thrown it higher, should have thrown it harder, should have thrown it out of bounds, one or the other. Again, not his fault, not my receiver's fault at all. It's all a coaching thing. You gotta work those timing routes over and over and over again all week. I wish you guys could have a video on what we do in practice because we didn't have practice video either. We had 0 practice tape at all week long, the whole season. So I don't even know what we were doing in practice at that point. But like I said, I did not play at an extreme caliber level. I'm not afraid to say that at all. There was definitely some throws that I missed that, I need to make. But when I'm still third in almost every passing category, when we went into games with 0 game plan, running the same 6 plays over and over and over again, I got the defensive linebackers calling out what play we're about to run. Then it's like, there's not a whole lot I can do. Like I said, I scheme guys open. My strength is my football IQ. If I can't use that, then I'm an average passer. That's what it is out there. So,
Aaron, you're a former league MVP in your last league, I guess, and you're just saying that your performance was not probably the best you ever had, but do you think you can attribute that to the level of LFA, about the level of how we play here in Mexico, Mexican players, and also the level of imports we have here in the league, or it was just?
I wouldn't say it so much that. I will say that in the LFA there are phenomenal players, man. There are some very good players. Like the individual talent is very good, and I was very excited competing against a lot of these guys, and a lot of them are great guys. I made a lot of new friends, new football connections through this league, which I'm very thankful for. There's a lot of great players in this league. I think the football IQ and the football discipline isn't at the level that I've been playing in. And partly why I was the MVP that year was because we had amazing coaches, and all of our offensive system was timing routes, and everything was preached on constantly at practice. So everyone was where they were supposed to be. I mean, we had guys not knowing certain plays the week of Hefe's practice, and that screams to me a coaching thing. Like I said, I'm never going to blame my guys because they all worked very hard. They dealt with the same stuff. Guys being late on payments and all that stuff, and they gave everything they had every game, dude. So I'm extremely thankful for them for that.
And just to continue on the thing about scheme and obviously the playbook and all this, one of the things we've heard or that was commented to us is that you had kind of negotiated previously to or before you came over here to Mexico, is that you were going to have like some freedom within the playbook, like you were going to be able to install some of the scheme you were more familiar with or some of the system that you've been running. Is that true? Were you at some point like trying to install some of the plays that you were more familiar with, some of the system you were more familiar, or is that something that just kind of got lost in translation somewhat?
No, I mean, during my whole interview process, I said, listen, guys, like, I'm telling you right now what type of quarterback I am. I told them from the day one, I'm gonna be very strict and disciplined on what we're doing offensively. I need a lot of my plays to be integrated into the system because I've been running them my whole life. And if that's not something you guys are comfortable with, I need control. I need to be able to audible out of things. I need to put us in better situations. If that's not something you guys are comfortable with, do not sign me. It's fine. Like, you guys can find the guy you want. No problem. And they said, no. If we bring you, you're the quarterback. You can do what you want. And I said, okay, sure. And then, like I said, I was trying to get the playbook. I was trying to work with them on the playbook since October. Nothing was ever ready. We never talked about anything. I had one meeting in December to talk about our offensive goals, and it had like the quick game passes in there. And then I get the full playbook like a week or two before we fly out. I get there, and I'd be like, "Hey, what are we doing with the playbook?" And I'm like, "When are we installing the rest?" And he'd be like, "No, it's done." I'm like, "It's done."
But was this with the
Strevel,
or was this with the OC?
This was with the OC. But I was saying this to Strevel constantly. Every week I was telling him, like, "Hey, we're not on a good track right now offensively." And then we had our first offensive scrimmage, which our OC wasn't at. He was at the Super Bowl. So we're doing our scrimmage. Our OC isn't there. And then everything just came to a boiling point there. And I was trying all year long and to get like my system in there. And he'd let me put in a couple plays here and there, and then he wouldn't call them in a game. So it got to a point to where I would be trying to audible out of stuff, and then I'd get threatened to get fired if I keep audibling. So it was like, I told you guys this when before you signed me. I said, if you guys want a different style of quarterback, go get one. But I promise you, if you integrate my system and integrate me into the system and let me be a part of everything and we work together, we're going to be fine. And they were like, yes. And then get to the season, I'm getting threatened to be fired because I'm audibling in a game or a practice.
And beside that, Aaron, what was the deal for you from coming Mexico? I mean, what were you asking for to sign the deal with the Gallos Negros?
Oh man!
And the main difference between the Japanese league and the LFA regarding like the contracts, you feel me? Like I think that's kind of interesting to know. Like, what are those like principal differences between signing a contract over there and signing a contract coming to Mexico?
Yeah, absolutely. So in Japan, there's a player sign deadline. It's like May, June. So if you sign a contract for Japan, they can't go get a new player for the whole year. The roster's set. So if the American they bring in isn't good or gets hurt, unfortunately, they can't go get a new guy. So when they sign someone, they fully throw like their full investment into that person, and whatever they got to do to make it work, they do. Other than that, like, salary's a little different. Like, it's a month pay, not after games. The practices are a little different. Like in the LFA,
it's lower.
You practice. No. In Japan, I make a lot more money. And then,
like, your checks are lower over there. Like the payment,
no,
it's not as good as here, or it's better.
No, I make a lot more money in Japan. It's better in Japan.
Okay. Is that because you're the league MVP, or that's like for every player in the Japanese league?
My first year, because most Japanese teams, they only sign D1 guys, like ex-NFL guys, like NFL perimeter guys that are in the UFL, CFL type deal. My first year, I didn't make a lot because I'm just an NAIA guy, just asking for a chance, and then won the MVP and we won the league, and that's when I got the pay. But coming to Mexico, I wasn't asked for a lot, man. I was like, I liked the LFA, man. Like I thought Mexico college football was very good. Like I loved like watching Mexico college football before I was even a part of it, because I love football around the world international, and I thought Mexico college football is a very high level. And then, finding about the FAM and the LFA, and I'm like, okay, these leagues are kind of cool. And then the LFA stayed, and I'm like, you know what, maybe it's time to go down there. So I brought some of my guys with me, and so I didn't ask for much, man. I just was looking forward to the opportunity. I just wanted to be a part of everything. I wanted to help build Gallos up. I wanted to be a part of the offensive system, and that was it.
So Aaron, I wanted to return to what you mentioned about the scheme and the playbook and how you guys were coached there at Gallos Negros. And the recurring comment we had from multiple sources within the organization, maybe players, coaches, people from above the organization, the main comment was that you lack coachability and that you lack accountability. So just I want to get you like on the record. So you think it was more lacking of coaching than you not being coachable?
No, 100%. There was no coaching. Like, people can say what they want about me. If they can say that I played bad, whatever, dude. I don't care. They don't understand what we were going through. There was no coaching. I didn't get coached one time I was there. Not one time. Not one time did I learn anything new about football myself or offensive play. Not one time. Now, I'm not saying this to every team. I know some of the coaches on the other teams, and I know how they be cooking. They be doing some good stuff. And I love the coaches in the Mexico college football world. I think there's some great coaches in Mexico. We didn't have the football IQ. We did not have the football IQ. It's that simple. So, did that answer your question all the way, or was there something else?
Yeah. I'm putting emphasis on this. I'm putting emphasis on this because this is what we have received, and we have based our questions on what we have learned from the organization.
Okay, so let's talk about it, Diego. So imagine. So you said you played in the LFA. Do you still play? You did play.
I played here at Galgos last year. Galgos.
You played in Galgos last year. What position?
Quarterback.
QB.
Quarterback. Okay, nice. Okay, so perfect. I can make this analogy perfect for you then. All right. Say you go to practice every day. Okay, you run the same 6 plays over and over and over again, and you're told to do these things against looks that they're not good against. Okay, over and over and over again. And when it doesn't work out, all the coaches ever blame are the players. Only the players. Not one time has the coaches looked at themselves and said, hey, we're not doing a great job. It's anytime there's been a mistake, like we can't run ISO against an 8-man box, it's because the players. My OC told me halfway through the season, after I had that blow up that they talked about, he said, my bad, I went for players, not plays this year. And to me, as a quarterback and a veteran of offense, that's a terrible mindset. You got to put your guys in the right position to succeed. So I put you out there and I say, hey, it's a 3-down front. They're going to drop 8 every time. I need you to go air raid and throw all game and just be 100% efficient with no run game. Like, it's not putting you in a great position to succeed at all. And I'm a big component because I coach people all the time. I'm a big component. You got to put your players in the best position to succeed. So if they want to say I'm not coachable, they didn't coach me anything. They didn't teach me anything. Any success you saw was because of me and my offensive teammates came together, installed new stuff, tried new things, came together in the huddle. We'd be sitting there, okay, what do you guys want to run? And we're talking about it because whatever was coming in here was nothing good for us at all. Ask any American on offense. Ask some of the Mexican guys on offense that were a part of it, and they will tell you like nothing we were doing made sense. So I'm an extremely coachable person. Are you kidding me? If someone has something to offer me coaching wise, I come from Japan. I've played there for 30 years now. It is the most disciplined, respectful country in the world where you show respect. I have letters of recommendations from every single one of my coaches. They continue to bring me back every single year. I have letters of recommendations from every program I've played for when it comes to what I give my teammates, what I put into it, the amount of work and effort and care and love and respect I put into this game and to my team. I have a letter of recommendation from every single fucking program I've been in. So there's one place with one coach who's throwing his players under the bus and not taking responsibility, that's saying bad things about me. If that's what people want to believe, they can believe that. That's fine.
No, well, the issue right here is that you're telling us one version, and like a lot of people is telling us another version. So he said, but at the end of the day, we are.
Oh no, I'm not gonna back away from. I was standing up to them and saying things. I absolutely was, but there was a reason for it. I wasn't just out there to just be a dick. Like I cared about us. I thought. I cared about my teammates. I brought in all these offensive guys Like, they were all my picks. I said, I want this guy, I want this guy, I want this guy, I want this guy. And, you know, we built a very close unit that could have been much more productive than we were, but it is what it is.
No, and listen, we understand, Aaron. And one of the things that maybe, obviously, taking into account, you know, what we're hearing from you now, what we've heard in the past, do you feel that at some point, and obviously, again, taking into context everything you're saying, do you feel that at some point did you lose the locker room? That you lost the faith of your teammates? Some teammates, maybe not all, but do you at some point feel that the tensions that were between you and the coaches eventually spilled out to your relationship with your teammates?
I definitely don't think it helped. You know, when you have distractions like that, it's not good for anyone in a program. And if there was one thing I could change, it's that wouldn't have happened. I don't think that I necessarily lost the locker room. I just think it was just a toxic environment. I wasn't helping. I wasn't making it better. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't just keeping my mouth shut and just trying to just level out through the rest of the year. That's why I said after the Dinos game, I was like, guys, like, I'll go. Like, I met with all my teammates. I met with all my American teammates, and I said, hey, listen, here's the thing. This is an extremely toxic place. I don't like being here. I'm not myself. I'm not playing it here at the level that I want to be. You know, you guys deserve that. So I'm asking you, if you guys believe that we'll be better off with me leaving, I will leave. I will do that. I will let them go find whatever quarterback they want to find, and I will let that happen for you guys, because I don't need to be here. I was here for y'all. That's the only reason I stayed, was for them. And they wanted me to stay. They told me to stay. So I stayed, and I gave everything I had the rest of the year, and we came up short, but so that was the only reason I stayed, was my teammates.
So this was basically a battle between you and the Mexicans, Aaron? Can we understand it like that?
No, not at all. I love my
because you said because you said like 2 minutes ago, like I just sit with my American teammates and I talk to them, and I kind of, like, I don't know, like, I feel like the relationship between like Mexican players, because you said it before too, like some of them Mexican players were kind of angry with you, or maybe they didn't love you the way the Americans did, and so this was like a real thing, like an issue between you and the Mexican players or coaches or whatever.
No, I only said the American players because it was a bye week. After the Dinos was a bye week, and we just all lived together. So, like, that was the time for me to talk about it. And I did text my O-lineman, though. I texted my O-lineman. I asked. I said, I have the text still. I said, guys, is there something I'm not doing that you think I need to be doing? Like, do you guys trust me? Is there something wrong? What do you think we can do to, like, keep staying on top? Because things were going okay after the Dinos game. We beat Galgos, then we were 3-2. And they told me that they were honest about some things, but they said, no, we're fine, dude. There's no big issue here. We just gotta, like, clean this small stuff up. I have nothing bad to say about my Mexican teammates. Even if maybe a couple of them have something bad to say about me, I don't have anything to say about them, even if they said it to my face, because I love my time with them, and I think they're great players. I think Gallos has a bright future ahead of them if they fix some minor things. But no, brother, I didn't see it that way. I didn't see any issue with my teammates at all.
Aaron, we think it's fair to say that you did not enjoy the same success you had in Japan and the ELF. So we wanted to ask you, what do you think it was the main challenge regarding the adaptation of playing in LFA? How can you compare both the ELF and the Japan League with LFA, where those LFA has a better level? Is it speed? Is it excluding like the coaching that we have already talked about, but you on a personal level, where do you think you find the most differences between all the three leagues that you have performed?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, LFA, a lot of great individual talent, man. You know, there's some players in this league where I'm like, man, you know, very impressed by. I think this league has the better individual talent over X League and ELF, much more so over the ELF, just a little bit over the X League, but definitely the better individual talent. You know, when it comes to the speed of the game, you know, hitting and all that stuff. After that Catillos game, man, my body was not feeling the greatest. I'll tell you what, dude. I was like, man, I haven't felt like this in college. So, yeah, definitely that. ELF is just very like professional. There's a lot of good coaches in that league, like American ex-NFL type guys. You never have to worry about payment or anything like that. The management's always very, very professional and straightforward. Kind of the same thing with Japan. Now, again, everything, I hope anyone that's listening, everything I'm saying is just about Gallos. I've heard some things from other teams, but I also know there's some good stuff happening at those teams. Like I got friends on almost every team, and I'm blown away by some of their preparation. Like Shelton, I love Shelton. I've known Shelton for a few years, and just how well he works with his coaches and his players, and how much hard work he's put into this, and how it's showing how well he's playing. I love that for him, man. And you see that in other teams, Cadillos, even Dinos turning it around after that rough start. That's a very impressive feat. So I don't want anyone thinking what I'm saying about the whole league. I'm just purely speaking about my team's perspective.
Aaron, I have 2 questions for you. You'll be open to coming back to LFA next year? And if you want to come back, is there something you'll be able to change? Like,
yeah,
what are your learnings from this experience?
Absolutely. I would like to come back. If the right situation presents itself. I don't care about money or any of that. I mean the right situations with the right people. Things that I would change, because I've played in 9 different countries, and every time the challenge is learning that countries, like how they do things, what their culture's like, how they talk to each other, because like when I played in Denmark, you can't push those guys like I could in Japan. You know what I mean? Like you can't, like some players need to be talked to a different way. So it was a big learning experience for me. I'm not saying I did everything right. There was definitely times where, I'd get on my teammates and they might take it not how as I intended to, but a lot of that was me just trying to learn, like, okay, how do I lead these guys? What do they respond to the best? And Mexican culture, things were very different. So I think I learned a lot in that aspect. And I think if I came back, the most important thing for me would be to very quickly give my teammates the support that they need. If they're a player that they play better when they get pushed hard, okay. Or if they're a player that just needs only support, like, hey, you got this next time, then that's how I got to be. So I think I did learn a lot. And if I got the chance, I would give everything I have to make it the best one.
But where would that be, Aaron? Like, what's your favorite team? Like, based on what you know right now about the LFA, obviously you went against every of them. So if you get to choose, like, where would that be? Where would you like to play, like next year? Let's say if you come back.
I mean, I know Raptors have their guy, but I'll tell you what, I was very, very impressed, because I know a couple guys on the Raptors, and I was talking to them about how their season's going, and really impressed with the culture they've built there. Of it's like when things go wrong, it's I, not you. Like, okay, what can I do better? Like, what can I do better for us to be better? So I was very impressed with how they built that. Very impressed by the Dinos on how they had the very rough start, and now they look like a brand new team in just 4 games. I think those type of programs have some very good people in them, and that's kind of what I would just want to be a part of. I don't really care what their record was last year. If a team has like good people in it that care about their players, that actually care about their players and care about the success of the team, and put that before any selfish desire, then that's where I'd be completely happy with being.
And in that same note, Aaron, At some point, were you ever in contact? Obviously, your relationship with the coaching staff was a little difficult, but were you ever in direct contact with ownership, with management? Was this something you kind of flagged at some point, like, hey, this is not going to work, or regarding any other subject regarding the team? Were you ever in contact with the president, with the owner, stuff like that?
With the Gallos owners?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, because I'm one of those guys. I don't like going above people to try to, like, I don't know, get my way. I felt like it was an issue between me and the coach, so that's where I was going to keep it. I'm not going to go over his head to the owner and say, "Hey, get this guy out of here," because the owner hired them, they hired me. So at the end of the day, that's their guy, that's who they're riding with, and if I have an issue with someone, I go to that person for it. I'm not going to go over this head.
Sure. And just, I want to, just before we finish, to kind of go back, you mentioned a little bit about your recruitment process, the way they brought you over here to Mexico. Can you just give us a little insight into, like, what was your expectation? You talked about that a little, but just go into more detail about, you got a call, hey, you want to come down to play pro football in Mexico. Like, what was that process for you like? What was you talked about you knowing a little bit about college football here, but just the overall arc of what that process was like.
Yeah, I really had no idea what to expect, to be honest with you. Like, I had no idea what to expect. At the very least, I expected like a more like professional, when it comes to fans, stadiums, like the way things are conducted. That's what I expected going in. Humberto, what team do you play for now?
Or Raptors.
The Raptors,
Yep.
yes. So, like, do you guys have practice film? Do you
Yeah,
film
like
any of your
every day.
practices?
Like they got the best OC in the league. Like this Brian Guzman, this guy, I think he's the best OC in the league. So
No,
obviously
he's done a
things are
phenomenal
different
job.
between what is going on Gallos and Raptors. Yeah.
But this is what I've heard, like, from every team, that they film practice. They look for mistakes. They work on those types of
Yep.
things, and that's what I was expecting, at least coming into Gallos. And when I get to practice the first week and they say, "No, we don't record practice," I said, "Well, that's going to be tough for us then. How do we get better from the week?
Yeah.
What's the point of that?" So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I was expecting. But one thing I absolutely loved was the fans. I mean, the fans were great. The stadiums were pretty nice for the most part. I think the game day experience was great. I loved competing against these guys. So I expected that as well, and that definitely came true. I was like, I love how, like, emotionally dedicated people are about football in Mexico.
Aaron, this is my last question for you, but first I want to thank you for being here, sitting here. I think it takes a lot of courage, a lot of balls to want to talk about your version or your story about your experience here in Mexico. And I think my last question is there something that we didn't talk about from your experience in Gallos Negros that you want to add in this program?
I think, like I said, I didn't come here to just, like, bag on anybody, but after the comments that were said about me, I think it's very important that people understand one thing. This is a problem that will keep going on. It's not going to stop by me not being there. I mean, I kept every receipt, dude. I have some of these text messages that I have that I would be glad to share with you after all this. Like, the being threatened to be fired every other day because I audibled in practice or said something about a play that wasn't working right is insane, dude. And just the things that were said constantly, the toxic environment created, and the lack of self accountability from some people. You fix those things, I promise you, Gallos is going to be a top 4 program, in my opinion. In my opinion. So yeah, I mean, I think it was just important that, I share some of these stories that happened throughout the year. Specifically, I can't really, if you asked me, I would tell you very specific moments, but just as an overall, it wasn't a healthy environment. And yeah, I did not play the type of football I wanted to play. Trust me, I wanted to come down and absolutely dominate, do what I do. So if I'm given a second opportunity to, I'm definitely not going to waste it. I'm going to make sure it's in a place with great people, but if not, I'm still proud of the work I put in, because I never gave up. I gave everything I had every single week, man. I watched more film than anybody. I put in the hours. I did everything that I thought I could do right. And I learned from some of the mistakes I made this year, from a leadership standpoint and a player standpoint. And I think I'm going to be better for it on the other end of it. So, yeah.
Nice, Aaron. I just want to say thank you again. Already Sebas said the same thing, but from me, I want to say thanks. I know it's tough, like those kind of things, being a player. I've been there, believe me. And I just want to ask you, like, don't quit on the league. We're making like a big effort to grow the league, to make things better, to assure like these kind of things for the players. You feel me? So they can feel comfortable being here, playing football, and developing all the athletic teams. And I don't know. I mean, I'm sorry hearing all these kind of things, like the messages you said
good,
like 5 minutes ago. I know it's hard. I can't imagine, but this is not the LFA. This is not Mexico. This is just something that you went on Gallos.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is not all around league thing. You feel me? So
yeah,
just be aware of that. And that's it, man. Thanks.
I still think the best of this league, it's going to keep going up if they just keep on a good trajectory, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it progresses over the next 5 years.
Sure. Just to finish up,
Thanks,
well, thank you, Fesha. Thank you, Aaron. We appreciate, like Sarah says, we know some tough questions, and we appreciate you coming here and sharing your side. We thought that was important, obviously, and we'll wish you the best in whatever comes next for you. And thank you for.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Aaron. We'll be sending you off, so we desire for you the best, and hopefully we see you again on the football field here in Mexico. And one last message. I'm going to say hi to someone.
Just to the people that did have my back this year. Got a lot of love for y'all. I hope you know that. And to all my teammates at Gallos, if you feel I let you down in any way, from the bottom of my heart, I'm sorry. I gave everything I had to y'all, and I got a lot of love for y'all, man. And I hope nothing but the best for the future of the Gallos Negros.
Aaron, sorry, guys. Man, I need to say this to Aaron. Aaron, we talk with a lot of your teammates, and I'm just want to tell you that all your teammates think that you are a fucking great person, man. So I'm just wanna.
Thank you. I'm
just gonna say to that, all your teammates say, "Man, Aaron is a fucking great person." So just wanna.
Yeah, it was mostly on the football side. Most comments, just thought it was important to say that. Yeah, it was mostly about the football thing, and yeah, that's a good caveat to what was said here today.
That means a lot. Thank you so much, Sebastian. Thank you guys again for everything. Thank you so much for having me.
Sure thing, Aaron.
Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you. Appreciate it. This will be airing on Friday, so be on the lookout. Y bueno, para la gente que nos escucha, esto se va a publicar el viernes. Regresamos a nuestra cuadrícula normal. Impresiones, comentarios, ¿alguien que quiera agregar algo acerca de la entrevista?
Pues nada, güey, temas bastante complicados, ¿no? La neta es que por eso siempre es bueno como tener las dos versiones. Ya teníamos una, por supuesto, después de todo lo que se desencadenó desde esas declaraciones por parte del coach Strevel. Y es una lástima porque escuchando al vato, güey, o sea, genuinamente creo que es un cabrón que sí venía realmente a aportar a la liga. Creo que en el camino se encontró con situaciones muy complicadas que al mismo tiempo creo que le afectaron en su performance, porque la neta, sostengo lo que digo durante el programa, hubo varias cosas que él también dejó independientemente del esquema, pero siento que todas las circunstancias que tuvo como en su contra fueron lo que lo fueron haciendo caer en este bache en donde las cosas no salían, en donde mostraba su frustración, en donde tal vez de repente explotaba. O sea, por supuesto que no es excusa porque siempre hay que mantener como una buena actitud, pero la realidad es que también nosotros conocemos la liga, conocemos cómo se manejan las cosas y creo que hay muchas cosas que sí están por ahí atrás que no se hicieron de la manera correcta, ¿no? El tema de los tiempos, a mí me ha pasado en lo personal que a veces no se tienen los medios en los equipos para poder estar en un camp 2 meses antes o para poder concentrarte, temas de playbook, o sea, son muchas cosas en las cuales la liga como todavía sigue en pañales y la realidad es que este güey tuvo un choque de realidad porque no es lo mismo jugar en Japón, güey, donde la estructura y la organización es lo principal, en la ILF ni se diga, con coaches ex-NFL, entonces llegas a una LFA sí con muchísimo talento, pero que la neta carece todavía de muchas cosas en cuanto a la seriedad se refiere, entonces pues está complicado y por lo mismo yo le decía al vato, güey, que la realidad es que esto no es la liga en términos generales, simplemente son situaciones que te puedes ir encontrando en tu equipo y ojalá podamos ver una nueva faceta de Aaron Ellis en otro equipo el próximo año o en otros 2 años o en lo que sea.
Sí, digo, de mi lado nomás rápidamente, creo que el objetivo era como tener las dos versiones, obviamente tratamos como de balancearlo lo más posible de manera respetuosa y profesional a lo largo del programa. Algunas de las cosas que dice Aaron, la verdad es que nunca vamos a saber, o sea, los únicos que en realidad van a poder saber la verdad son los coaches, Aaron, los que están ahí en el locker, siempre decimos esto en este programa, o sea, lo que sucede en el locker, la verdad es que solamente la gente que esté ahí, aunque te lo cuenten, vibrarlo, sentirlo ahí es bien diferente. Hay unas cosas que sí dice del FA de forma general, que sí creo que vale la pena porque son cosas que no solo se han dicho en Gallos Negros, o sea, lo hemos dicho de otros programas, lo hemos dicho de otros equipos, de otros staffs, entonces eso es importante, creo, tenerlo en contexto. Y lo otro también, siento que es importante, esto lo hablamos, si recuerdan, con el coach Pelón, me parece, con el coach Rosado, cuando vas a traer un jugador norteamericano, y te digo, yo no tengo la verdad absoluta, no creo que Aaron la tenga, no creo que las personas dentro, o sea, cada quien tendrá su propia versión. Sí creo que las organizaciones nomás tienen que estar conscientes de que si vas a traer jugadores extranjeros, normalmente van a exigir un poco más en ciertas cosas a nivel coacheo, a nivel esquema. Eso yo creo que es importante nomás, yendo hacia el futuro como en temas de planeación deportiva, porque eso es algo que he escuchado recurrentemente, de que, güey, si vas a traer gringos, los gringos te ponen a prueba, güey. Ellos quieren saber si estás en su nivel, y te digo, no tengo yo la verdad absoluta de lo que pasó en Gallos, pero sí ha sido como un comentario recurrente que me llamó la atención que Aaron como que tocó un poco en ese sentido esa parte.
Y fue de lo que más hizo énfasis, ¿no? El coacheo y sí, coincido, es algo que todavía sucede. Algo que hemos comentado inclusive es que creemos que no hay coaches suficientes para abastecer una liga de 10 equipos. Es un comentario al menos que hicimos la temporada pasada y pues, tío, es importante siempre tener las dos versiones y como tú bien comentas, nunca vamos a ver, bueno, nada más la gente que estuvo ahí va a saber. Pues bueno, no sé si alguien quiere agregar algo más. Si nadie quiere agregar algo más, aviso para la comunidad, esto se va a publicar el viernes, vamos a poner el viernes listo, en la mañanita, para que lo puedan consumir. Pues bueno, nada más hago hincapié en esto porque pues cualquier cosa que suceda de aquí a justamente el viernes, pues bueno, esto se grabó el miércoles, entonces pues, no estamos en vivo, como ya se lo comentamos. Avísenos cómo vieron ustedes la entrevista. Dejen sus comentarios si les gustó la dinámica, traer jugadores que nos platiquen acerca de su experiencia en LFA y sí, comenten, interactúen, dejen sus mensajes. Entonces es importante siempre tener el feedback de ustedes, la gente que nos escucha y por la gente que nosotros hacemos todo esto. Sin más por el momento, esto fue Pop 62. Lo esperamos próximo martes porque tenemos Monday Night de Playoff. Tenemos en Fundidores Dinos, Playoff ronda de comodín, lo tenemos el lunes. Entonces los esperamos el día martes a las 8 p.m. en nuestro horario habitual. Los esperamos para traer lo mejor de la ronda de comodín, esta primera ronda de playoff, reacciones, análisis, ya se la saben. Un placer estar con todos ustedes. Sebastián Olvera, José Humberto Noriega, Rodrigo Ruiz, Diego Ruiz.
Un placer, gracias.
Un placer estar con todos ustedes. Los esperamos la próxima semana. Hasta luego, bonita noche a todos.